Hi everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. This is my most anticipated new releases video for the months of January to March 2021. So I used to do these videos every single month and they were kind of exhausting to do, and I still kind of feel the same way about them. It's just I want to mention so many books and I know that I'm not going to get through all of those books, because when I was doing these monthly I would mention maybe 12 to 20 books each month, and obviously I couldn't read all of those new releases, I couldn't even buy all of those new releases. So I decided to switch this up and I'm going to do them quarterly, and that does mean I'm going to be mentioning more new releases in each video, but it also means that maybe I don't have to think about the new releases as much and I don't need to get so sad about not being able to buy all of them or get my hands on all of them or read them. But I do get to promote them all to you guys and I get to talk about the ones I'm really looking forward to reading. So we're going to start with January, and then probably they're going to be in date order. Some of these are obviously already out because I'm recording this towards the end of January, but the February and March ones are going to be all new and shiny. So the first ones came out on the 5th of January. Let me scooch over. I haven't decided what kind of graphic I'm going to do here yet. You're going to find out when this video goes up. The first one I want to mention is Happily Ever Afters. This is the debut book. It counts towards the debut author challenge. This one is about a young girl who is a writer and she joins a creative school for other like creative people, not just for writing, and then she kind of gets into a slump because she doesn't feel like she deserves it. She feels like it's kind of imposter syndrome, and then it's about her trying to get her groove back and also becoming friends with a baker who is really talented, and this book made me really hungry. I've already read it, really enjoyed it. When You Look Like Us came out on the 5th as well. This is about a black teenage boy called Jay whose sister goes missing and no one really cares because she is a young black woman, and it kind of discusses how the media doesn't give missing black children as much attention as missing white children. So Jay looks into this and he wants to go and find his sister because he feels like he's the only one who cares. Meanwhile, he's also looking after his grandmother. I've done a whole review of this, I will leave it below. It was a really good book. Next we have The Wife Upstairs, which I have done a whole review for on this channel. I will leave a link up above. This one is a adult thriller. It's another debut, and this one is a Jane Eyre retelling. Then we have Bedazzled, which is a gay romance novel. I think it's YA contemporary. The tagline says, Project Runway goes to Comic-Con, an epic queer love story about creativity, passion, and finding the courage to be your most authentic self. I nearly got through that sentence without stumbling. Next we have One of the Good Ones, which also came out on the 5th. It says here this one is about a teen social activist and history buff who is killed under mysterious circumstances after attending a social justice rally. Her devastated sister and their family are left reeling in the aftermath. Kezzy becomes another immortalised victim in the fight against police brutality. Her sister begins to question the idealized way her sister is remembered. Perfect, angelic, One of the Good Ones. So I think this is going to be quite a deep book. I'm really looking forward to reading it at some point. I didn't get a review copy of this one and I don't think it's out in the UK, so I don't know when I'm going to get my hands on it, hopefully soon. Next we have You Have a Match by Emma Lord, who is the author of Tweet Cute. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I'm hoping to read it in the next couple of weeks. Fingers crossed if I can get my hands on it. I think it's available on Kindle in the UK. This one is about a girl called Abby who signs up for a DNA service and then she finds out that she has a long lost sister or something, or maybe her parents aren't her parents and she has other parents elsewhere. Either way, it's about a DNA sort of thing and then family truths coming to light, and I'm really interested in that kind of thing. I'm really into genealogy and DNA testing and all that kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to reading this. These next books came out on the 12th of January. Yes, we are only on the second week of the year, which is why I'm rushing through these books. I hope you don't mind. The first one I want to mention is Waiting for the Night Song. This is an adult debut. This is about a woman who's, I think, a conservationist, and she has to head back to her hometown because it's rumoured that certain things might come to light that happened when she was younger, so I think she's involved in some sort of mystery. Then we have a YA fantasy debut, which is The Frozen Crown. It says here, a princess with a powerful and dangerous secret must find a way to save her country from ruthless invaders. In this exciting fantasy debut, first novel in a thrilling duology packed with heroism, treachery, magic, and war. So it sounds like your standard YA fantasy. I'm still looking forward to reading it because it's a debut and I want to support some debut authors this year. Then we have The Follower, which is a YA thriller. It says here that this one is about 3 Instagram famous triplets called Cecily, Amber and Rudy, the children of home renovation superstars, and they're ready for their perfect summer. They've just moved into the site of their parents' latest renovation project when they begin to receive chilling messages from someone called The Follower. Oh, this sounds good. I didn't actually read the synopsis of this one because it's a thriller and I don't normally do that, but this does sound really good and I'm going to get my hands on it. This next one is called The Girl Who. This one came out on the 14th of January. So the tagline for this says, the girl who survived, the girl who inspires, and the girl who has something to hide. People can't bring themselves to say what happened to her. They just describe her as the girl who, you know, and nobody really knows. No one sees the real Leah. Leah is the perfect survivor, and I'm not going to read the rest, but this one does sound really good and mysterious. Then we have Every Single Lie by Rachel Vincent. Rachel Vincent is one of my old school all-time favourite authors. I read a lot of her books when I was younger, especially when I was first starting on BookTube 10 years ago. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I didn't realise she had a new book, or 2 new books coming out this year, but I'm very much looking forward to giving this one a go. It's another YA thriller. and I can't exactly remember what it's about because I don't read the synopses for thrillers normally, but I think the main character finds something dodgy in someone else's school locker, possibly a dead baby. I might be just making this up. And then on the 19th of January we have Winterkeep, which is the 4th and final book, it might be final, I don't know, book by Kristin, who wrote Graceling. This is in the same sort of world, it follows similar characters. Then we have This Will Be Funny Someday by Katie Henry. This is another YA contemporary from her. She's written 3 so far. I think the main character in this one may be a stand-up comedian or is striving to be a stand-up comedian, and it follows her journey in that sort of world. Then we have Cast in Firelight, which is a YA fantasy debut again. Don't really know much about this one, I'm not gonna lie, but from what everyone is saying about it, it does sound really good. People have said that it's really thrilling and exciting and it's got kind of fresh new world in it, so I am looking forward to reading it. Then we have Shadow City, which is the sequel to Diamond City, which is a book that I quite enjoyed. It's a YA fantasy duology. I can't really remember much about Diamond City, but I do remember really enjoying it, and I think the main character had to perform some sort of heist or something, and then she got to know the rich guy that she was heisting, and things came to light and there was dark magic and things and assassins, I think. It was good, and I'm looking forward to reading the sequel. Next we have We Could Be Heroes by Chen. This is about a superhero and a supervillain. They become friends and then they realise there is kind of an origin of their superpowers, and they have to look into that and figure out how it's going to affect their city and their superhero villainy ways. And then finally for January we have The Girls I've Been by Tess Sharp. She is coming back to YA thrillers, which I'm really excited about. I've already read this one. It's about a girl called Nora. I've got a review coming up of it actually in a couple of days. So it's about a girl called Nora who is the daughter of a con artist. Her mum conned men for their money, and she is trying to get away from that life. She doesn't live with her mum anymore, she lives with her sister, and she's kind of keeping a low profile, but then one day she is involved in a bank robbery when the bank that she is depositing money into is about to be robbed. So she has to get away from the bank robbers, and then her past comes to light, and it's really good. It's a really good book. Okay, and now moving on to February. I hope I'm not going too fast for you guys, but as you can probably understand, this is going to be a really long video, so I do have to move quite quickly. The first one I want to mention is The Gilded Ones. This is a YA fantasy debut. It was supposed to come out last year, but it got pushed back because of the pandemic, and I love this cover so much. It's really pretty, love the colours, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I don't really know much about it, can't remember. I think the main character's blood runs gold instead of red, and that means that she's cursed or something, and she has to go away from her village because no one wants her there, and she either joins a war or a group of resistance fighters. I don't know, I haven't read it, I could be talking out of my arse. And then we have The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah. I've not read a Kristin Hannah book yet, but by the time this one comes out I hope I have caught up with some of her books, not all of them because she has written a lot. I don't actually know what this book is about. There's corn on the cover, could be set in the south. Next we have a book by Courtney Summers, who is one of my favourite, or is becoming one of my favourite YA thriller writers. This is called The Project. Of course, as it's a thriller, I didn't really read much of the synopsis, but it says here, Lo Denham is used to being on her own. After her parents died, Lo's sister B joined the Unity Project, leaving Lo in the care of their great aunt. Thanks to its extensive charitable work and community outreach, the Unity Project has won the hearts and minds of most of the upstate New York region, but Lo knows there's more to the group than meets the eye. She's spent the last 6 years of her life trying and failing to prove it. So it sounds like the main character is trying to take down a dodgy charity corporation that's not really a charity. Then we have The Survivors, which is by Jane Harper. I've done a full review of this one, I will leave it up above. This one is about a man called Kieran who goes back to his hometown, very small hometown in Tasmania, Australia. Back in the day when he was younger, something happened and that caused the entire town to basically hate him, and he really didn't want to come back, but his dad is getting sick, so he returns and then someone dies, and then it's all kind of connected. It's a really good book. Then we have The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers, which I do have an advanced reader's copy of, and I'm dying to read it, but I'm rereading all of her other books first. So this one is the last book in her Wayfarers series. I adore this series of companion books so much. It's adult space opera, and it's diverse, and it's heartfelt and heartwarming, and just so like wholesome, and it's so good. I would highly recommend picking it up. Then we have The Reaper of Souls, which is the sequel to Kingdom of Souls, which I really enjoyed. It's a YA fantasy. Kingdom of Souls was about a woman who had a very abusive mother, and she had some sort of powers. Her mother also used kind of black magic, dark magic, to kind of manipulate things, and that got people into trouble. And then there were demons involved, and the world was actually really complex. I really enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to reading this sequel. Next we have Game Changer by Neil Shusterman, who is one of my all-time favourite authors. I think he's fantastic. It says here that all it takes is one hit on the football field and suddenly Ash's life doesn't look quite the way he remembers it. Slipped into a weird accent there. Impossible though it seems, he's been hit into another dimension and keeps on bouncing through worlds that are almost but not not really his own. I love parallel universe stuff. I love time travel, I love alternate universes, I love post-apocalyptic, and I love multiple dimensions and all that kind of thing. And Neil Shusterman always comes up with the most creative plots for his stories and settings as well. I think he does an amazing job with his settings, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I do have an advanced reader's copy of it. I'm dying to read it soon. Then another one of my favourite authors is coming out with another book. That is Mindy McGuinness, and she's bringing out The Initial Insults. So this one is the first part in a duology. I'm not really sure what genre it is. It sounds kind of like a thriller kind of thing, and Mindy McGuinness always writes the like darkest YA contemporary thrillers or YA contemporary stories, and they're always really kind of dark and gory and disturbing, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one regardless of what it's about. And then finally for February we have The Obsession. This is another debut book which I'm really looking forward to reading. I think it's a thriller, so I'm not going to read the whole synopsis, but the tagline is a classic sort of love story except somebody might end up dead. Nobody knows Delilah like Logan does. Logan sees Delilah killing her abusive stepfather and realises there's still more about her to discover. His sweet perfect Delilah isn't so perfect after all. Delilah is done being the victim and she refuses to be a character in Logan's twisted fantasy, so it sounds like Logan is obsessed with Delilah and maybe he starts to blackmail her or something, and she is hopefully going to get her revenge. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Okay, and now we're on to March. You'll be glad to know it's the last month of this video. So the first one I want to mention is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second book in the King of Scars or Nikolai duology, and I'm really excited for it. I keep forgetting that it's a thing, but then when I remember I actually do get quite hyped, so I'm looking forward to reading this. I love Nikolai. I think it's a really good character and I really enjoyed King of Scars. Next we have a Desolation called Peace. This is the sequel to A Memory Called Empire, which I haven't read yet, but I'm going to read in February and make sure that I get to this before March. It's an adult sci-fi space opera. Don't really know much about it. Something about an ambassador finding out why her predecessor was killed by someone. It's action-packed. It sounds really good. Then we have The Rose Code, which is about the code breakers from World War II who were based in Bletchley Park, which is just north of where I live. Yeah, I went to Bletchley Park recently, like 6 months ago. It was very, very interesting. I'm really looking forward to reading more about these women who broke the codes and helped win World War II. Every Last Sphere, which is the debut psychological thriller. It says here that family was made infamous by a true crime documentary and then they are found dead, leaving their surviving son to uncover the truth about their final days. So this sounds like it's kind of a true crime thing mixed in with psychological thriller, and that's my favourite thing, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I'm going to try to get my hands on a review copy of it. Really hope that the publisher grants it to me because I am super hyped. Of Women and Salt. This one is, I think, a generational sort of sweeping story which I really enjoy. It says here that it's about a daughter's fateful choice, a mother motivated by her own past, and a family legacy that begins in Cuba before either of them are born. So I don't know if it maybe follows the family from Cuba to present day USA, or if it's going to start in present day with the main character and then it's going to go back and talk about how the family came out of Cuba, what they were dealing with there in the 19th century. I'm not sure, but I love the sound of it. I really like generational stories. I really like reading about family ancestry and legacy, so it does sound like something that I will really enjoy. Then we have The Committed, which is one that I just heard about. It says here that The Committed follows the sympathiser as he arrives in Paris as a refugee. There he and his blood brother Bon try to escape their past and prepare for their futures by turning their hands to capitalism in one of its purest forms, drug dealing. So I think the main character is Vietnamese and a refugee, travels to Europe and follows him on his journey. Firekeeper's Daughter also sounds really good. This is another debut book that I will be mentioning on my blog. It says here that the main character is a biracial, unenrolled tribal member and the product of a scandal. She has never quite fit in, both in her hometown and on the nearby reservation. She dreams of studying medicine, but when her family is struck by tragedy, she puts her future on hold to care for her fragile mother. So I think it's going to be a family-based sort of character story, and I did think that the cover looked kind of fantastical, but I don't think it actually is. I think it's more of a thriller book. The next one is With You All the Way by Cynthia Hand, who writes really emotional YA contemporary. It says here that Ada's life is a mess. She caught her boyfriend cheating on her, and then they head over to Hawaii, and then Ada discovers that her mum is actually cheating on her dad. So I think it's about the main character processing her own breakup and then also the affair that her mother is having. And then finally, for this whole video and also for March, we have Perfect on Paper. It says here that it's perfect for fans of Leah on the Offbeat and To All the Boys I've Loved Before. It's about a bisexual girl who gives anonymous love advice to her classmates, and she is hired by the hot guy to help him get his ex back. So I think this hot guy goes to her for love advice, she probably gives it, and then they probably end up falling in love. Okay, so those were the however many books that I am looking forward to releasing in the next 3 months. Like I said, I'm not going to get to all of these. I'm probably not even going to get to half of them. There are a lot of them here, but I wanted to feature the ones that I am looking forward to reading eventually. I just wanted to showcase the ones that I am excited for, so you guys can maybe get your hands on them, build up a little bit of hype. I have uploaded, I hope, my most anticipated new releases video for the whole of 2021. I think that talks about books from January to to June. There are quite a few of those as well, and I'm not sure how much overlap there is, but this video should hopefully have gone into a bit more detail about a few more books. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what books you're looking forward to that are coming out in the next few months, or which ones I should definitely get my hands on. Maybe you've already read some of these because it is a bit late to upload this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all in my next video. Bye.